Who are you? When the lights are off, the performance ends, and there's no one left to impress. Who are you when no one's watching? It's a quiet question, but it echoes through your entire life. Because beneath all the roles you play, the friend, the partner, the professional, the strong one, the funny one, there is someone else. Someone you almost forgot. Someone still breathing inside the silence. You weren't born with a mask. You learned to wear one, piece by piece, year by year. You shaped yourself to fit, to be loved, to be safe. You didn't choose this consciously. You were taught, be nice, be useful, be normal, be who they expect you to be. And so you obeyed, like all of us did. But here's the cost. For every version of yourself you created to survive, you lost a little piece of who you were meant to be. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. There's a weight that comes with being seen, but not truly known. To be celebrated for a version of yourself that isn't quite real. To be surrounded, yet invisible. To succeed, but feel hollow. To laugh on the outside and ache underneath. That ache, it's not a flaw, it's a signal. It's your soul knocking from inside the mask. Sometimes, the most spiritual act is simply to stop lying to yourself. Not dramatic, not loud, just honest. Ask, what am I doing just to be accepted? What part of me is starving while I feed the persona? Who am I without the performance? These aren't easy questions. They peel back the layers. They make you uncomfortable. But discomfort is the beginning of truth. You see, the true self isn't something you create. It's something you remember. It was there before the fear, before the comparison, before the shame. Still there, still waiting, still whole, not polished, not perfect, but alive. You don't need to become more. You need to return. Return to the child who danced without needing applause, to the soul that loved without conditions, to the silence you used to find sacred before it became wasted time. That is you, and you've never really lost it. You just stopped listening. But now, you're listening again, not to the world, not to the noise, but to the quiet voice you buried, the one that says, "This isn't me." The one that asks, "Why am I always performing?" The one that whispers, "Come back." And you can. You always can. No matter how far you've gone, no matter how long you've worn the mask, the truth waits patiently. It doesn't punish. It doesn't guilt. It just invites. Let's talk about the ego. Not in the arrogant sense, but in the survival sense. That invisible structure you built to protect yourself from pain, rejection, and chaos. The ego says, I must control. I must be liked. I must become something. But your soul says, I already am. I want to feel. I want to be free. And here's where the tension lives. Because ego wants certainty. It wants applause, routine, identity. It wants to know who it is, even if it's a lie, even if it costs your peace. But your soul wants truth, and truth often ruins the plan. It disrupts, it strips away, it burns what no longer serves. That's why awakening often feels like falling apart, because it is. Not the falling apart of who you truly are, but of everything you were never meant to be. You will feel alone at times, not because you're broken, but because the path back to yourself is often walked in silence. You'll begin to say no to things you once tolerated. You'll feel disconnected from conversations that used to entertain you. You'll lose the desire to impress. This is not a crisis. This is clarity. You're not losing your mind. You're losing the false self, the one that said yes, just to be liked. the one that smiled while dying inside. Let it go. There's a story I want to tell you. A young woman walked into the woods one day, not to hike, not to camp, just to disappear for a while. She was tired of being everything to everyone, tired of pretending she was okay, tired of not knowing who she was. She brought no phone, no mirror, no audience, just stillness and space. For days, nothing happened, just silence and the sound of her breath. Then one night, as she sat beside a fire, she cried, not because she was sad, but because she finally felt real. She realized she didn't need to find herself. She just needed to stop running from who she already was. And when she returned to the world, she was quieter, but more alive than ever. That story isn't about someone else. It's about you. It's a metaphor for your own return. You don't have to go into the woods, but you do have to go inward. Inward, where the noise fades. Inward, where the truth breathes. Inward, where you can finally hear yourself. Most people won't understand this journey. They'll see your softness as weakness, your silence as avoidance, your boundaries as selfishness. Let them. Your truth is not up for debate. Your peace is not up for compromise. Some people loved the version of you that never said no. Let them miss you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them go. Because peace will cost you relationships, habits, and identities. But it will reward.
Now that you've heard the call, the invitation back to yourself, what do you do with it?
You don't need to change your whole life overnight. This isn't about burning everything down. It's about turning inward more often, listening more deeply, saying yes only when it feels clean, saying no when it costs your soul. Return happens in small moments. When you pause before reacting, when you breathe instead of pleasing, when you feel instead of performing. That's how you meet yourself again, not in grand gestures, but in quiet revolutions. You might ask, but what if people leave? Let them. You might ask, but what if I disappoint them? Better to disappoint them than to abandon yourself. You might ask, but what if I don't even know who I really am? Then your work is not to figure it out, but to create the space where truth can emerge. And it will, because the real you is not hidden. It's just buried beneath layers of should. And once those begin to fall, you'll begin to feel light again. Not because everything is perfect, but because nothing is pretending anymore. Let's pause. Breathe in. Hold. Exhale. Ask yourself, what am I afraid they'll see if I stop performing? What would I choose if no one had an opinion? What is still true about me, even when everything else falls away? That truth is your anchor. That silence is your teacher. That presence is your path home. You don't need a new name. You don't need a brand, a label, a slogan. You just need to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. The one who moved with feeling, the one who loved without armor, the one who trusted their own rhythm. That version of you is not gone, only quiet, and now you are quiet enough to hear them again. So let this be your beginning, not a dramatic restart, but a gentle return, back to your breath, back to your body, back to your knowing. You are not here to impress. You are not here to perform. You are not here to perfect yourself. You are here to remember yourself, to live from your soul, to love from truth, to walk this world not as a mask, but as the presence behind your eyes. Who are you when no one is watching? Maybe now you're ready to find out.